Our opening words come from Monica Jacobson Tennyson. What is it that calls you here, that calls you onward, that calls you inward, that leads you homeward?
What is it that gives you the power to make that change, to ask that question, to take that journey?
What is it that says you have done well, that asks you to learn more, that brings you to stillness, that holds you up in hard times?
It is relationship, the beating heart of our faith. It begins when we share this hour, this air, our hearts.
Come, let us worship together. Please join us in our opening hymn, number 1007, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. And that's in the teal hymnal. Good morning. Welcome to First Parish in Milton. My name is Elise Henricks, and I'm a member of our worship committee. If you're having trouble hearing us, can you please raise your hand or alert us on Zoom in the chat? Everyone okay? All right. We're so glad that you've chosen to be here with us this beautiful morning or to join us virtually. However your journey, whatever your heritage, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. Your presence here on Sunday morning enriches worship for all of us. The sanctuary is made holy by your presence. If you're joining us for the first time, a special welcome. You'll find information about First Parish in your pew, and my lovely husband Tony back there would be happy to greet you or welcome you to take you over to social hour after church. The work of living our faith is done both in and out of worship, so there's some announcements that you can read in your order of worship. Just want to make sure that you're aware that May 21st is our annual meeting. It's a very important time to exercise your democratic vote in this community and to hear about all the wonderful things that are happening in our community, so please do join us. This morning, we are welcoming a guest. Let me get to my paper here. Our guest leader, and we're very glad to have Karen Gross-Horan with us. Many of you have known Karen through her work as co-founder of Courageous Conversations Towards Racial Justice, a dialogue-centered initiative on racism and privilege designed to address racial healing, equity, and justice in our community. Reverend Lisa and several members of our community have been involved in this group, so we're so glad to have Karen with us today. Karen is a lifelong justice advocate who has had careers in higher education, business, and finance. She's originally from upstate New York, and we found out we grew up just a few miles away from each other when we met, so that was pretty fun, and has resided most of her adult life in the greater Boston region, where she's raised 2 daughters. So thank you, Karen, for being with us today. Now let's take a few minutes to greet one another and extend a warm welcome to old friends and new staying in our seats. For those on Zoom, please turn on your video and go to gallery view so you can say hello to others zooming in.
Hi, Katie.
Hello. My computer doesn't have a camera today.
That's okay, no worries. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. It looks like the number of people online is shrinking.
Yes, this is an unusually quiet one today.
Yeah, I know it's a really busy weekend for people, but it's a beautiful weekend. I hope you've gotten some time outside.
Yes, I was outside yesterday.
Nice, very nice. Good, good. So you're going to stay on worship committee next year?
Yeah, I think I'm maybe not going to commit to some of the dates though, just because it's always unclear with my health. But yeah, I'm going to keep going to the meeting.
Great, good, good. Well, it's good chatting with you.
Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.
As we enter into worship, please take a moment to make sure your cell phones are silenced. Now is the moment when we can focus on being here. We can choose to connect with ourselves and the divine, when we can choose to just be present. Each Sunday, we light the chalice as a reminder that hope, love, and faith still abide. Please join me in our call to worship. Come, let us gather. We gather to celebrate the sacred within and among us. We come to seek spiritual growth and understanding. We strive to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and love. Together, we work to build a world with justice and compassion. Come, let us gather together.
Today's story, Where Are You From? By Samila Saeed Mendez. Where are you from? They ask. Is your mom from here? Is your dad from there? They ask. I'm from here, from today, same as everyone else, I say. No, where are you really from? They insist. I ask Abuelo because he knows everything. And like me, he looks like he doesn't belong. Where am I from? Abuelo thinks. His eyes squint like he's looking inside his heart for an answer. You are from the Pampas, the open free land, he says. You are from the gaucho, brave and strong, from the brown river that cleanses and feeds the land, that gives us the grain for our bread and the milk from the cows. You're from mountains so high they tickle Señor Cielo's belly, where the condor roosts his family and the jaguar prowls the night. But you're also from the warm blue oceans the copper warriors tried to tame. and the elegant palm trees stretch their fingers to caress. You are from hurricanes and dark storms, and a tiny singing frog that calls the island people home when the sun goes down and people go to sleep. From this land where our ancestors built a home for all, even when they were in chains because of the color of their skin. You're from the grandmothers who search for their grandchildren, waiting always in the plaza, their white handkerchiefs wrapping the sorrow of their thoughts. You come from the sunshine that lights our path in this world and the rain that washes away our mistakes. But Abuelo, I ask, where am I really from? Abuelo laughs. You want a place? He points to his heart. You're from here, from my love and the love of all those before us. From those who dreamed of you because of a song sung under the Southern Cross, or the words in the book written under the light of the North Star. You are from all of us. I am.
And now we will sing our children to their classes. We will now have our moment of stillness, a moment to let go of the cares of the week, to release stresses and strains, and to focus on breathing and being here on this beautiful day in this beautiful space. Our reading this morning is an excerpt of an article by Rakshitha Arni Ravishankar entitled, "What's Wrong with Asking, Where Are You From?" 4 years ago, I moved to New York to start pursuing my journalism degree at a graduate program in the city. I spent my first week researching and reporting an audio story about the local farmers market. When I handed it in, my professor looked down at the script I had written, looked back up at me and said, "Your English is good. Where are you from?" Well, that was supposed to be a compliment. It didn't feel like a pat on the back. Whether it was based on how I looked, sounded, or information the professor had gathered about me beforehand, their tone implied that because I was an international student, my ability to write English well or not was tied to my geographical and cultural background. I was confused and hurt. This is a question we all ask and get asked very often. It comes up during the 10-minute chats we have with our Uber drivers, in job interviews, and even during that awkward small talk at office parties. It may be a question that's asked out of curiosity, and I do believe that is usually the case, but it has the potential to trigger something very personal, our sense of belonging. And that, for a lot of us, can look a lot like alienation. Here's the problem. For those of us who already feel different in a given space, being asked where we're from carries implicit assumptions about our race, caste, ethnicity, nationality, etc. Often it translates into, "You don't seem to already belong here." It validates existing beliefs about social identities and can be quite patronizing. For instance, following up with the question with, "Of course," or "Yes, you do look like you're from insert country here," can force people into neat categories of race, gender, or nationality without acknowledging the nuances of that person's identity. Questions about our last names, looks, accents, and culture may reinforce and magnify differences between a marginalized community and the dominant geographic, which can trigger feelings of alienation and could be considered a microaggression. The tricky thing about microaggressions is that they mostly stem from unconscious biases, which means it's so much more important to be mindful of where, when, and how you ask questions about someone's identity. Instead of inquiring about someone's background, perhaps ask, "What is it that you'd like me to know about you?" An important way to eliminate unconscious biases is to listen more deliberately when someone speaks. Listen to what details they give you and have a conversation. Don't try to box someone's identity based on what you believe to be the markers of said identity. These conversations can feel awkward, especially in multicultural and global workplaces, and that's okay. All it takes is a little bit of self-awareness and a lot of accountability, so diversity actually makes people feel included.
chills. Thank you, choir. To sit behind you and be amongst it was just incredible. Thank you. Beloved universe, we ask that you open our ears so that we may hear your voice. Open our minds so that we may receive eternal wisdom. Open our spirits so that we may know your leading and guidance. And open our hearts so that we may experience your wondrous love. So, where are you from? Have you been asked this question and did not know how to answer it? This question, although seemingly simple, can make some feel lonely, disconnected, confused, and often create an inner turmoil, much as we saw from the little girl in our children's story. Your answer to this question, where are you from, touches at the very soul of who you are as it is woven into the perceptions of your identity. This from Zori Rashad, as a college athlete. Where are you from? A curious woman asks as she inadvertently touches my hair, caressing the long ebony braid of African curls that are supposedly the telltale mark of a foreigner. I'm from Silver Spring, Maryland. No, where are you really from? She asks again more aggressively, as if I could not possibly have been born here. That is the double edge of the question, where are you from? The seemingly simple curiosity that as a young person I recall feeling an ouch, a little sting to the core, as a microaggression, as a suggestive, you're not one of us, you're not from here, you don't belong here. So here I invite us to reclaim and reshape the question, where are you from? I've used this exercise countless times in my consulting work. With preparation for this service, I researched it much more deeply for the first time. The origination of the Where Are You From poem was inspired by a poem by Jo Carson, a Southern writer with deep roots in East Tennessee, in a house where her grandparents lived before her. The poem has become a pass-it-on phenomenon from the beginning, where hundreds of thousands of these poems have been gathered and shared since the 90s. NPR did a story on the Where Are You From poem and story, and they, within hours, got 1,400 people's Where Are You From shared writing. Here's so as Jo said, here's to the power of poetry in place and to the voices in all of us that long to be heard. Here is Jo Carson's Where Are You From poem. I am from clothespins, from Clorox and carbon tetrachloride. I am from the dirt under the back porch, black, glistening, it tasted like beets. I am from the forsythia bush, the Dutch elm, whose long gone limbs I remember as if they were my own. I'm from fudge and eyeglasses, from Imogene and Olifar. I'm from the know-it-alls and the pass-it-ons, from perk up and pipe down. I'm from he restoreth my soul with a cotton ball lamb and 10 verses I can say myself. I'm from Artemis and Billy's branch, fried corn and strong coffee, from the finger my grandfather lost to the auger, the eye my father shut to keep his sight. Under my bed was a dress box, spilling old pictures, a sift of lost faces, to drift from beneath for my dreams. I am from those moments, snapped before I budded, leaf fall from the family tree. In my research, I found this poem on the UUA site as I connected to the link for the poem and found it included in the curricula and faith development resource for the UU Church. This discovery months after I decided the title and the premise of my sermon had me thinking, wow, this is the universe. This is what I was supposed to talk about. So let's ourselves do an exercise of free flow writing poetry that has no pressure to rhyme. Where are you from? Think deeply. Who are the people? Where are the places? What are those memories, stories, traditions, foods, and flavors? It may be helpful to think of it in terms of the 5 senses. I'll give a few minutes here to do some free flow writing answering that question. I invite you to write on paper or notes on your phone And then in that QR code that's in the order of worship, that will take you to a virtual way to share your I Am From poem, writing, prose, whatever you want to call it. And just offers a virtual way for the First Parish to collect Where Are You From stories. So feel free to add it now or sometime over the coming days and include your name, initials, or leave it anonymous. Whatever you choose is fine. Help your young people and other members of your family add their entries as well. All entries are invited. And then read what your community has shared. The learning and knowing is quite powerful. So we're going to take about 3 minutes to think about you all writing some stanzas, some sentences about where you were from. So I'll share my latest. I often, as I said, do this exercise, and I try to compose something, a little bit different each time. I am from a long line of Black matriarchs with roots in Barbados. I am from the middle of 5 generations of double sisters, 2 generations before me and 2 after. Ruby and Marie, Marcella and Barbara, Cheryl and Karen, Mariah and Lydia, Maya and Brooklyn. I am from country hills filled with summers on horseback, bike races, skinned knees, hikes to open green pastures, and freshwater ponds and lakes to explore. I am from friends of all colors and creed, before knowing what color and creed meant and learning that they often can divide us. I am from a single-parent family of 4 with vague and scattered remembrance of that earlier family of 5. I am from knowing and sensing I was loved, but not often hearing those spoken words. I am from certainty in uncertain times. I am from knowing sibling rivalry that rivals all else. I am from love, truth, and understanding of what it means to be me. a Black woman navigating a white world where fitting in comes natural, but doesn't always feel like the right fit. This is where I am from.
So, you guys hear me okay? This is to just show you that I just wrote this morning, and so after this, we'll give a little bit of moment if people want to share a couple of sentences from theirs. It doesn't have to be a rhyming poem. It doesn't have to be a super deeply thought out thing. It is an opportunity. I am from snowy hills, traded for palm tree lined beaches, then uprooted again to a Texas border town. To uncertainty exchanged for stability, but with an undercurrent of secrets. I'm from a loving sisterhood that has survived many stresses to emerge intact. I am from easy laughter, a love of the outdoors, singing on car trips, and backyard barbecues. So if anybody would like to read a couple of sentences from their thoughts, we can pass around. You can put up your hand and we can come around and you can share if anyone feels so moved.
Don't be shy. We just opened up. We welcome you
And
too
if
as
anyone
well.
on Zoom, if you'd like to type it into the chat, we can read it out loud. Thanks, Diana. You want to say your name?
I'm Diana. Where am I from? I was born in Smithtown, New York, moved to New Mexico when I was 14. I left good friends behind and had to make all new. After earning a degree at UNM, I went into the Peace Corps for 3 years, moved to Boston 33 years ago. I can't believe it, 33.
Thank you. Anybody else like to share?
This may be a little bit provocative, but my deep roots in my 4 grandparents are from 2 countries where knowing where someone is from could be a matter of life and death. I'm talking about Ireland and Croatia, and where people who looked very much the same had beliefs that were different enough that at times it was like what's happening in Ukraine. So it's sort of built into my DNA to ask people where they're from, but I get it, that I need to do a little more softness in that way I ask that.
Good morning. I've been living with that question since I was born, I think. Ante papi criol, que sabe tudo gente sabe ante papi criol. Minha língua é papi criol primeiro de China inglês. I didn't know that English was my second language until I was older. I'm from a family whose ancestors are volcanic islands and deep oceans off the coast of Africa, and didn't know that until I was an adult that this was one of the last stops before many enslaved persons from Africa were brought over to the United States, and that's why there's so many Cape Verdeans. I thought they were all whalers, but they also engaged in transatlantic slave trading. I'm from a family whose kitchen is filled with delicious aroma of manchupa and couscous, which are all African foods. Even though we were colonized and there are Portuguese and African, the African food, the influence of that is so profound. I'm from family that we love the morna, but the morna is sad. It's a very sad song because it's about a longing, and it's always about a loss, and it's about people who know that they haven't seen their family for years, and you do what you need to do. And there had been people that had been ripped apart from their families. There are people who still mourn their families, and they carried that on with them in their music to this country and to other parts of the world. In fact, when I was traveling one time, I speak Portuguese Creole. There is French Creole. There is Spanish Creole. And I managed to, there were 3 of us, came together. One was a gentleman, he lived in Cuba. He spoke the Spanish Creole. They call it criollo. I was with a dietitian from New York. She spoke a French Creole, and I spoke my Creole, and we could all understand each other. It wasn't just the Latin language, but it was also the terminology, the names, foods. We all came together. It was pretty interesting. So, thank you.
Dottie?
I'm Dottie. Just turn this so I can see it. I am from the ocean, the mountains, the air in between. I am from skiing, horses, snow, and hay and manure. Music in my soul, Brahms and Beethoven. I am from Jan and Varnum, 4/4 time and cut time, from low A to high C to harmony to dissonance. I am from pilgrims and teaching, white and black and in between. I am from learning and growing.
Is there anyone else?
Thank you.
Do I have to stand up? Okay. Everyone's going to know where this is. I'm from the city of President, so they call it, in Granite, but not the Granite State. Mostly Italian roots, I was always told. Apparently not completely true. I feel more ties to that culture than any other my DNA test lists, but I am still a foreigner in that land. I'm from a family of females, from struggles, from music, from being raised by the village. And that's all I got so far.
Thank you for sharing. It's beautiful.
Is there anyone on Zoom? I can't see anything in the chat right now. If anybody wants to, feel free. The app, you just press the little plus button that's down at the bottom of the page, and you can add your thoughts and documents into that, and then we'll be able to have that. And you can either put your name or you can leave it anonymously, whatever feels right to you. So, thank you.
The power of the earth is the power of roots, the power that comes from a sense of history and connection to our origins. We are grounded in all that has shaped our lives, from our own memories back through the experiences of our ancestors, and including the features of the place where we live. Its geography, ecology, traditions, stories, and history. Let us live, breathe, and embrace what we choose to hold on to and what we choose to share, and let go of those memories, thoughts, beliefs, and perhaps secrets that no longer serve a purpose for us in our power to breathe change into the world. Thank you.
Please join us in our hymn, in the gray hymnal, "There is More Love Somewhere."
There is
Our pastoral prayer today is words by Andre Moll. As we gather together, may we remember when you share with me what is most important to you, that is where listening begins. When I show you that I hear you, when I say your life matters, that is where compassion begins. When I open the door to greet you, that is where hospitality begins. When I venture out to bring you to shelter, that is where love begins. When I risk my comfort to ease your suffering, when I act against hatred, violence, and injustice, that is where courage begins. When we experience the full presence of each other because of our shared humanity, because of our shared differences, that is where holy gratitude begins. May this space be a table that is not complete until all are welcome. May this table be a space of beauty where together we create a series of miracles and where all that we share is sacred. May it be so. As many of you know, 2 weeks out of the month, we donate funds from our collection to an organization that we feel we'd like to support. So today's offering will be given to the Back Bay Chorale Bridges program. The Back Bay Chorale is a 120-member auditioned chorus, which hosts an annual concert series. They share music with the Boston community through its Bridges program, which offers an ESL program to make music and improve English language skills for participants. And we welcome Corey Hart, the Community Engagement Coordinator, to speak more. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Corey Dalton Hart, and I am the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Back Bay Chorale Bridges program. We are a program that looks to expand and support meaningful partnerships in music making in the Boston area. Our two big initiatives include singing at memory care facilities and our English as a Second Language choir in partnership with the Boston Public Library's ESL classes. This year has been a wonderful year for Bridges. We've seen our enrollment increase. We have a group of singers, about 20 to 30 every Tuesday morning, ages 20 to 80, with at least 7 different languages represented. They are enthusiastic and they love to sing, and they have greatly improved their musicianship and their language skills over the year. One of our singers, Olena, moved here from the Ukraine within the last year, speaking absolutely no English, but in a very short period of time, and with the encouragement and support of our ESL singers and our Back Bay Chorale volunteers, they have welcomed her and included her, and she is a leader in our choir rehearsal, and her English language skills have greatly improved. We just recently sang a concert at the Boston Public Library of sea shanties, where they got to present their semester's worth of work. They love performing, but they love each other's company even more. This year, the Bridges program also included 2 performances at naturalization ceremonies around Boston, and we have an upcoming performance in June of a program of fun and familiar show tunes at the Compass on the Bay Memory Care Facility in South Boston. We've been working hard to foster community through music. If you are able, any support that you can provide will allow us to continue these partnerships, buying music, engaging musical collaborators, and supporting our ESOL singers. The wonderful Dottie Pitt and I very much appreciate your support of the Back Bay Chorale Bridges program. Thank you.
So to give, it's very straightforward. You all know there's a text number that's in the order of worship. So you can text an amount that you'd like to give, and that will go directly to this organization. Also, if you'd like to give cash, there are coffers in the front and the back that you are able to donate to. So please help us support this very worthy organization. Thank you.
A song is just a little thing, and yet what joy it is to sing. In hours of toil it gives me zest, and when at last I long for rest, when cows come home along the bars, and in the fold I hear the bell, at night the shepherd's heard his stars, I sing my song, and all is well. My days are never filled with ease. I till my ground and prune my trees. When ripened gold is all the grain, I labor hard and toil and sweat, while others dream within the dirt. But even while my brow is wet, I sing my song, and all is well. Sometimes the sun unkindly hearts my garden makes a desert spot. Sometimes a blight upon the tree takes all my fruit away from me. And then with throes of bitter pain, rebellious passions rise and swell. But life is more than fruit or grain, and so
Please join me in the words of our unison dedication printed in your order of worship. May these gifts be transformed into strength for this faith community, into comfort, food, and shelter for those in need, and may we be transformed by generosity. Please join us in our closing hymn, number 1074, in the Teal hymnal, Turn the World Around.
I just have one plug for the song that soloist sang. Thank you, Dayan. Research Florence Price. She is an amazing Black female composer that died with probably thousands of arrangements and compositions unknown, and it's just beautiful to hear her work. So thank you. Don't merely expect to find or to believe that life is worthwhile. Make it worthwhile. Don't merely see life whole, make it whole. Not knowing which should come first, to improve oneself or to improve the world, we end up doing neither. Actually, the only way to improve the world is by improving oneself, and the only way to improve oneself is by improving the world. From Rabbi Mordecai Kaplan.
I see you, Carl. You're hiding with Lori.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You outside?
I am outside. The sun is after me. Oh, I got a new, these little bird whistle things.
No.
No, you don't need know these little things?
No.
Oh my gosh. I thought everyone grew up with these.
I don't. Do you remember those, Lori?
It's like paper and like a little metal piece
All
with
right, let's hear